we'll move on to the next topic now. And it's a doozy. I'll let Peter intro this one.
Peter, you gotta do it, man.
Peter, you gotta do it, man. You gotta do it,
Peter,
man.
you got this one.
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. Big up Fabian. And we were talking about Robert Glasper. He had a show. And I think she went to it. Well, I think she'd seen him before and I'd seen him before. And one thing that we kind of like deeped was that, there's a lot of white people here. So I was curious about like the consumership within hip hop when you go to shows and that, and why artists that make music predominantly for black people attract so many white fans at their shows. So yeah, I just wanted to explore with you, man.
It's a doozy.
Yeah, because it was interesting, man, because Robert Glass was not the first example of that. And when me and Yemi went to go see Mos Def, same sort of thing. Like a lot of artists that you would associate with being like extremely pro-black, they have like a lot of white fans and a lot of white attendees at their shows. And I was curious about that. I was curious about why you don't see more black people at these shows.
I mean, I've pondered this for ages, man. And I've kind of like, what's been flicking through my head is more of like, maybe white people inherently are just more interested in the rap and in the live aspect of it and just the general, like, that aspect of it more than us. Maybe we're lazy. Maybe we just can't be asked to part with the money or, any of that. I'm kind of in the middle with it. I feel like when it comes to rap, obviously it's a black art form. From the beginning, it was attracting white people. And that was mainly because they were intrigued at this new exotic thing. And as the years have gone by, you can see that white people are very much invested in rap. There are lots of rap fans that'll be able to tell you about all kinds of rap. It doesn't have to be mainstream. It could be underground. It could be alt. It could be left field. It could be anything. And there's just loads of them that are very knowledgeable about it. And that just comes from a love of the genre and a love of the art form sort of thing. And they show it when they go to shows and when they, they buy merch, they buy, CDs, vinyl, all that good stuff. Out of the pure love of it. And then on the flip side of that, I feel like black people may have taken rap for granted because it's ours and because we're coming from a place of authority when it comes to it. We don't have to do as much. We don't have to go to shows. We don't have to, especially in the day of now of like Spotify and DSPs where you don't have to fork out $10 to $20 every release for the next big album sort of thing. So, you don't have to do that. So because you're kind of more of an authority on it and because it's just like your God-given right as black people to kind of like be of it, like we don't try as much sort of thing. And I don't like saying that about my people, but that's the kind of feeling that I get about it, especially like, because anytime I go to like, it could be a Mos Def concert, it could be a Denzel Curry concert, it could be anything. There is like black people in the minority a lot of the time. I was at Isaiah Rashad this week. There were a lot of white people. It was probably split, but even still. I don't even know how some of these white people even heard of Isaiah Rashad. I can't even lie to you. So
what about when you went to see Madlib?
Madlib, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it was, it must have been about 75 to 80% white people.
But Kendrick, I think there was more black people there though.
You think so?
From memory, yeah. It kind of felt that way. Or maybe just where we were sitting.
Yeah. I think yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because even after that, everyone that I've spoken to about that concert has been white. And they were there sort of thing. So, I don't know, man. I just feel like while for certain people, we will step out. For like Drake, for Kendrick, for Cole, I imagine, we will step out because those are the guys. But when it comes to general shows,
we don't step out.
It seems that way. I don't want to like blanket statement it, but it's from my experiences of going to loads of rap shows, there's rarely been a time where we're the majority.
That's heartbreaking though, man. That's devastating, bro. And I'm sure there's a plethora of reasons in it. And I'm gonna put it down to like just the economics. I think that's a huge factor in why you may not see more blacks at these concerts and that, because I can't think of any other reason. Because I think, Yemi touched on some important points as well, man. This art form is ours, isn't it? So maybe there is an element of laziness. Maybe there is an element of us feeling like we don't have to. But for the artist, though, man, that must be devastating where you're making music for your people and you don't see your people at these concerts. Do you know what I mean? I can only imagine what that feels like. But I don't know where I sit with it, man. I don't really know. I can't give a blanket statement either on what the reason is, man. I think it's unfortunate, though. Whatever the reason is, it's unfortunate that we don't see more of us at these shows.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to get socio-economic with it, black people naturally don't have as much disposable income. We don't have as much financial leeway as maybe other races to kind of do more stuff like that sort of thing. We're kind of, some of us are holding on to every penny that we got, and that means that certain sacrifices have to be made. If there's intention to want to do those sort of things and go to shows and consume as much as you can and part with your money, then great. If there isn't, then it kind of is what it is. So I think it's a whole bunch of things. I don't think there's one right answer. I just know that because white people, especially, and I imagine with white people, there's an element of wanting to prove that they're like rap fans as well, by going to shows, by buying merch and all that stuff and knowing all the words. Bro, there were white people at the Ajay Rashad concert knowing words that I didn't even know. And I was just like, raw dedication.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there's that as well. There's a lot at play.
I'm in the middle of kind of what we both said. Because I'm in the middle of it being laziness and also being the social economic stance of it, of us not being able to go to as many. When I was 18, 19, I couldn't go to concerts the way I wanted to go to concerts. First concert was at 21, I went to go see Rick Ross. So it's, do I have the financial means to go to what I want to see?
Because it's not cheap.
It's not cheap. And I'm not willing to pay a certain amount of money depending on where I am at the time. So I do think it's a case of where if we could, we would, versus us not willing to show up.
Yeah.
It's a weird one for me because majority of the concerts I've been to, I'll be honest with you, has been black people. And when I went to go see Rick, because I think it comes down to the artist sometimes as well. I think when you look at the artist, it comes down to who it is in a weird way. Like when I went to go see Rick Ross, the majority black people. But then when I went to go see J. Cole, it was a mix of everything.
So you saying the more pop they are?
Yeah, that's literally what I'm getting to. I think, but then from what I've seen.
So then how do you explain
Mos Def? Exactly, that's what it gets. But then it's a weird
because even like when I go to, just not keeping it to hip hop, when I go to like jazz shows, bro, like I see mainly white people there, man. Like when I went to go see Yusuf Days, like at Somerset House, like it was majority white people there.
But then,
and I was surprised. I wasn't expecting that.
But then white people make up. What is our percentage?
They're not the majority though.
In London.
Oh, okay, yeah,
that's
cool. But in the world though, they're not the majority.
But if they're the majority, what's the percentage of black people in London?
But the majority of jazz lovers are white.
I don't know if that's true, bro.
I don't know, bro. Think of how long jazz has been around, right? It's been like, what, 160 years? And...
goddamn.
Yeah, New Orleans. And it's basically mutated as the years have gone by. First and foremost, even though it was black people making the music, similar thing to rap, like it was attracting white fans and sooner or later they became white jazz musicians and all that as well. So I don't want to say it's as much theirs as ours, but by force, it's kind of as much theirs as ours because we kind of...
I knew he was going to have a problem.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to have to buy it back, man. I hear what you're saying, but I think obviously because like as we continue to evolve, I guess the popular music continues to like evolve amongst black people as well. Jazz isn't that anymore. So I think nowadays you could argue that, okay, cool, you're seeing more white consumers taking in like jazz and that. But back in like the 60s and the 70s and the 50s and that, no, I don't know if I'd agree with that, you know. I feel like it was still more ours because it was a different time, different day and age and that, and like...
we were the biggest consumers.
Yeah, man, and we were actually like going to like these jazz bars and, you know, you'd ask a girl to dance to like a jazz tune and that, and these were all like black spots, mainly. Even though like the whites were trying to do what they were trying to do to us, these were like mainly black spots.
Yeah, definitely what she had the time machine.
But you hear the way he said it, we'll ask a woman to come up and like, what we did. But,
do you know what I mean? So,
yeah, it's a weird one, man. It's a proper tricky question. It's a proper trick because I think it comes down to, I think there's so many elements to this answer. I don't think it's a straight answer. I think there's so many elements to it.
Oh, there definitely
I think it is art, it's social, economic stances. I think it's
intent as well.
The laziness in us, or if we are lazy to go to shows, the do white people go above and beyond compared to us?
But can we?
But are we talking about in specifically London, or are we talking about the world?
That's where it gets tricky though, because if we're talking if we're not the majority at a concert here,
because I think we have to be specific. You know, I think we got to be specific, because I think, and the reason why I said that is because I'm just thinking about when Tupac performed at the House of Blues. Yeah, it would look like it was a majority black crowd.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So I think we have to be specific. If we're talking about England, then let's just talk about England, innit?
What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about England.
All right, cool. Now, what's the percentage of black people in this country?
I don't know.
It's like 10%.
So if we're not the
I just
majority,
pulled that out of my ass.
if we're not the majority of most shows, and it depends on the demand for white people as well, because they're naturally the bigger population here, of like 90% of whatever you want to give them. If there's a bigger percentage of them willing to buy tickets, they're naturally going to sell out a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
just because of the amount of buying it compared to us.
So then how do you explain a whiz kid selling out the O2 and you seeing predominantly black people there?
That's Afrobeats. I'm talking about just rap.
Is rap still black music?
It's music baby by black artists.
It's black music.
It's black music.
Exactly. So
I think with Wizkid, obviously, because he's...
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I just think the pool's different because of how long rap's been
Is
here.
it because Afrobeats is still coming out of Africa?
How long... Yeah.
I'd say so.
I'll say so. And how long rap's been here for. So I feel like if white people are trying to go to a show and we're trying to go to a show, just naturally the numbers are on their side.
And that kind of plays into the idea of like rap not necessarily being as much ours anymore. Whereas Afrobeats, you could argue, is still very much ours. And it's not something that white people, or a lot of white people from my experiences, have really like started to invest in, as opposed to rap. So the split as far as like white and black is going to be higher towards blacks than it is going to be whites, as opposed to rap, where I feel like it's maybe not halfway, but it's definitely more balanced, I'd say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if we're all trying to get tickets, they're naturally going to have the numbers on their sides because of the population. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose, but that might be a bit too literal for me. As far as like, yeah, but at the same time, if you want to go to something, you will make sure you do everything you can to do. I think your soul was a different an example.
Yeah, but that's
you know what I mean. Like he fiended for those tickets and he got them.
But then if it's that's him and Cleo Soul, though, man. You know how he is, man.
But that's the same for look, bro. If you know that Kendrick Lamar's releasing tickets tomorrow at 10 a.m. and you want to go,
you're gonna do everything you can.
You will do everything you can to make sure.
Depending
you're
on the price, though, bro.
Exactly
because them Kendrick tickets weren't cheap.
Of course,
Cleo Soul's a completely different price. Completely different price.
For some, for you.
Okay, for me, fine. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's different. But something that I just thought about as well is, I guess this, like, as far as us having the majority of white people attending like hip hop shows, probably started happening when our artists started trying to go pop. Because when you go pop, you're aiming for a wider reach, right? You're aiming to go beyond just the black community. So if you're trying to do that, then you're obviously going to pull in like the white people essentially. So why would you not expect more white people at these shows? Because when you've got artists like Eminem coming in and attracting like a whole new fan base, that's obviously going to like become a thing within that hip hop as well, no?
No, I don't think commercial has anything.
You don't think so?
No, because
how can it not?
When you look at it, depends. Because when you say commercial, do you mean the music they're making or them going commercial? Just
them going commercial, just more popular.
I don't know, because when I look at, let's say, the Game's first album,
right,
and you look at the Game shows, and it's majority white people.
Even around that time?
Yeah. Because I was just doing a bit of research for this topic.
But they're in places like Ireland.
London.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean? It's like, or 50 or Game, whoever when they first came out. I just think it's always, the minute an artist reaches a certain level, commercially, not commercial music, I'm just about commercially.
Yeah.
I think that's when they're going to be the majority.
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah, my fault. No, but I thought you meant their music being commercial rather than
them
going
commercial. Just them like reaching a whole nother level.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Of course, because respectfully, like you're not going to sell out a world tour of just black people.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen. You need to broaden out your base, and that might influence the music you make. It might influence the places that you go, sort of thing. So, ultimately, you got to make money. You got to stake your claim. You got to put your name out there, sort of thing. So that makes sense. Yeah, I guess. How do we feel about like shows from artists that are kind of just like brand new? There could be like a brand new rap artist and he or she is just getting their foot in the door, their foot wet as far as like rapping and live performances and all that kind of stuff. And you see like a very mixed crowd, maybe majority white people. How do we feel about that?
I think it depends on the artist. Depends on the type of music that they're making as well, because that will dictate whether I expect it.
Feel you.
I don't... Listen, man, I'm always going to want my black artists to be in front of a crowd of predominantly black people, man. That's just what it is, isn't it? But it's just not reality.
Do you expect a majority black audience at a Mos Def concert?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not to say that there won't be white people there, for sure. But for the brother that made black on both sides, absolutely. Sure, I'm saying. And that's not an indictment on any other community, but that's just what I would expect going to a Mos Def concert. We know what he stands for. We know what he raps about. I would expect that.
But what he stands for...
But then someone like a Pharaoh Monch, I don't expect that. I don't expect that, bro.
I see what you're saying.
I don't expect that, man.
I just feel like when it comes to someone like Mos Def, the reason why we love him is probably why white people love him too. And that's why you might see more of a mixture at those kind of shows. When it comes to people like Pharaoh Monch and maybe like, you know, like a Madlib or, you know, anyone of that ilk, yeah, at this point I expect a mix and I expect us to be in the minority just because I've seen it for so long, sort of thing.
Going to Cleo Soul, I'm expecting there to be a predominantly black crowd.
I mean, if the TL was anything to go by, it probably will be.
That's what I'm expecting. And I'll let you man know how it goes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm expecting.
I think it don't really... No, I'll be lying. Yeah, it matters for me.
Does it matter?
Yeah, it kind of does.
Matter in what way?
In terms of... I just expect more of us when I... Whatever... Like Daniel would tell you when we went to go see 50. I was walking around, I was like, okay.
I didn't expect that. 50, though.
No, but you expect... Whether it's... I don't expect us to be the majority. I just expect more.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean? It's just the numbers that lie to me. It's just when I'm looking around... And it's always awkward.
Yeah.
It's always like, if I'm with 50 and I'm with 100 white people to my right or my left, and then he starts saying the N-word left, right, and center. Like, it's an awkward time.
Yeah.
Like, it just is. Like, there's no two. That's why Rick Ross I was comfortable. Rick Ross was majority. Like, I'm trying to think, who else have I really seen that's like A Boogie? A Boogie was majority black, but I expect that. I'm just trying to think. But certain artists, I know what I'm signing up for. Like 50, I knew what I was like, Cole, I knew what I was signing up for. Krypton Conan, I kind of knew what I was signing up for. Dave, Stormzy, I knew what I was signing up for. But it is awkward when it's just when we're the minority, but then you've got songs that are using the word left, right, and center.
I think economics is a huge part.
I
When
think
we went to go see Ayrton, fam,
What was it?
like predominantly white kids.
True.
But is that his fan base as well?
That's definitely his fan base.
I don't think
But
that's
I don't think he makes music for that fan base, though. I think he just makes wavy music.
I agree.
That attracts all types of people.
Yeah.
Which is what I feel like a lot of people are doing now anyway. To your point about wanting to go pop, you got to kind of be a bit more democratic with the way that you make music so that attracts those types of people. And that's how you can make more money, sort of thing.
But, yeah. I expect it with Ayrton, though. I don't know, like, just his family. I think white people, I don't even want to say they're more. I want to say they're more. They listen. It's a weird one, man.
I think it's similar to how the Americans see people from London. They say that we appreciate hip hop and American music more than the Americans. I feel like you're kind of trying to say that about like white people and maybe underground rap and their attendance at concerts.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm getting from Mo.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. That I just didn't know how to word it, but I'm like, we're more close-minded than we think we are. Do you know what I mean? Like me. I'm not me.
There's
too.
loads of
Like,
underground white rappers.
I don't really listen to. I'm joking. Like, I know I'm very close-minded with what I listen to.
Yeah.
Like, for better or for worse. Whereas if you get a white guy, he might be able to tell me, yo, this guy's underground. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like when it comes to white people and hip-hop, they do their due diligence. It feels like it's almost a research piece for them compared to us. With us, it's an arrogance about us. Like, I figured out when I was a kid, my mum, my dad, my brother, my sister, I know about this shit. I grew up in this shit. My household was this shit. Whereas with white people, it's more of a research piece. Like, okay, they figured it out. Now let me go 10 steps back and figure out where it came from. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I feel you.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm gone.
I mean, say what you want about Eminem, like he's a hip hop head.
Yeah.
The Alchemist is a hip hop head. Like those people that appreciate the music and just the music, not just because it's being rapped or sung by black people who are cool. They love the music and the art form. They will show that.
Can I just say something? Sorry.
Of course you can.
I'll take it back. It's not the majority of white people. It's the minority of white people. I just figured that out now. I don't think the majority of them. I'm talking about the hip hop heads when I say they go back and do that. I'm talking about a white hip hop head. I'm not talking about a generic, everyday white rap fan.
Yeah.
I don't think they care.
Yeah. And I wanted to add on to something you said about, some black people being arrogant or snobbish. You used the word snobbish, yeah. My snobbery is for everybody. I don't care where you're from, bro.
I agree.
Everyone can get it.
But you are a black snob.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone can get it, bro. There are just people I won't talk about with music. I just don't feel like it.
Can you pass your phone for a second?
Like, why would I? Why should I?
Say again.
Why should I waste my time? If I feel like my music repertoire is at a certain level, why on earth would I engage in conversation with,
What?
these mere individuals?
No, but you know what I mean?
No,
It's like
I feel you,
I've got an air of arrogance about me when it comes to hip hop, and I've always had that air of arrogance.
I've got a video for that.
That's what I was waiting for.
One sec.
Do you think that's
I
necessary?
can't do it.
Do you think that's necessary? But we've got an air of like it's almost in our DNA.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's almost in our DNA where I think like the white people at Mos Def concert, I count that as a minority. But the white people at J. Cole's concert, do I expect them to know hip hop the way? No chance.
All right,
Do you know what I mean?
let me throw a question at you, man. Do you think these black artists have a responsibility to ensure that there are more black people in attendance?
They
at their
can't
shows?
ensure that.
I think that's out of their control.
They can't ensure
You don't think
that,
so?
bro. How can you ensure
What
that?
if they make it affordable?
Then the white people buying up the same amount.
Like when J. Cole did his sold tickets for like
Dollar,
$1 in it?
Yeah, and ask me who the majority
Little
was.
things like that.
Brother, ask me who.
Could these artists do more?
Of course. They could, but at the same time, I guess we don't really know about the ins and outs of, like, let's say if J. Cole wants to do 3 nights at the O2, he can't sell those for £1,
But like
sort of thing.
that pound one is an example because I went to that pound show. Ask me who the majority was.
The whites.
Was probably Asian and whites. Like Asians love Cole. Every time I've been to a concert, it's Asians, whites, and then us, man.
Yeah.
Whatever the order's gonna be. But even like that, for example, Born Sinner was like £45, £50. That's very affordable. It's very
Depends
affordable.
on who you talk
no,
to,
No,
bro.
1,000%. That
Your
was
money's
mad.
long,
no,
innit? So-
no, it's not. Don't do that. But it was mad arrogant the way I said that. But I'm saying compared to concerts, £40 for J. Cole is, I feel like that's a reasonable price.
Yeah. For Cole,
Yeah, for Cole, I'm just literally just doing it for artists. I think for Cole, £40 reasonable. So my point being, well, when I went there, it was still, that's gonna be, bro. It just is what it is. I think once you get so popular, like you said, once you're pop, what's the word I'm looking for?
When you've gone clear.
When you've gone clear, essentially, and you're at your highest peak of popularity,
right.
The majority is always gonna, because of the way we're the minority here. I think the majority is always gonna be the other man.
Plus, I feel like when it comes to rap generally, more and more non-black fans are just casual fans.
Yeah,
You'll see them at clubs, dancing along to music. You'll see them at shows. If there's enough demand among, their friends or, any kind of situation that's compelling them to want to be at these shows, they're going to be there.
100%.
They're not necessarily dedicated fans, but they want to be part of the party. They know a couple songs. They want to rave. They want to vibe out, sort of thing.
It's just how it goes, man. Like Chris Brown was full of them, man.
Also,
it's just-
I think something else that we haven't really said, this black art probably needed to expand beyond our people to become as big as it is as well. So as much as we might love for this black art to only be, specifically at concerts to be received by the black community, maybe that's not fair as well, because it was people from other communities that helped hip hop become as big as it is. Even though we created it, we birthed this thing. You know what I mean? But they've helped kind of take it to another point by being consumers.
I agree.
Is that the reason why it's also fallen off music
Don't do that.
Because so we agree they're arguably the biggest consumers of hip hop,
Okay.
just by population, right?
Yeah.
The music's gone whack in today's society to a certain degree.
More diluted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they to blame?
I don't think that's fair.
Why not?
Because I don't think you can blame white consumerism on the music being dumbed down.
Oh, hold on. Wording it like that, I think you may be able to,
Thank
bro.
you, Peter.
Because
Thank you to you. Thank you very much.
no, because like
Did I set myself up?
I'm a
Did I set
leave with
myself up?
something. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's what I meant, though. That's what I meant, by the way. That's what I meant.
yeah, because obviously, like as time went on,
Yes.
and the more pop certain people became,
Yes.
the music became a bit more, do you know what I mean, diluted.
That's what I'm trying to
so more artists will see that and want to reach for the same thing. So, and it was these white execs that were, do you know what I mean, like creating this structure. In order for you to like get to a certain point, you have to make this type of music. So you could argue it.
That's what I'm saying.
You could argue it, man.
Because if we're going to give them credit, we've got to give them the blame.
I mean, there were some black execs that were also complicit in this, but you know.
Yeah, there was some. What's his name?
Well, Leo Cohen and them, man. I think they were head of the pack, though.
Well, first of all,
You know
Leo
what I
Cohen.
mean?
Leo Cohen is he is the first one. He is the front of the picket line. That guy there, fam. That guy there's a criminal, bro. I don't like him. I don't like him. Sorry, man. That was a rant.
Mo said.
I'm leaving here with something. But like, yeah, that's what I meant. The way you worded it is literally what I was trying to say.
Okay, I hear that, but I also don't think that's necessarily fair because, again, I feel like it's also free will, right? Like, these artists don't have to make this music. They don't have to.
It depends on what they're after. If they're after money, then they will. And if they're after the art, then maybe they won't.
But then they have the free will to do that, right?
Not if the
But
record label,
and they have to eat, right? So
and it's also you don't know what the record label's saying. If the record label's like, "Yo, we're gonna drop you if you don't give us something that can
but, it's still
resonate,"
your, but it's still your free will to do that.
but it's also your living. So if your record label is telling you, "Oh, we're not gonna support you unless you give us something for the mass audience," with the mass audience being white, and sometimes they might have to conform to live their dream.
That's fine, but they're still choosing to do that.
yeah, it's difficult though,
But
man,
if
because
they-
it's no
it's
it's no different to like the crack era and like how
Wait, what?
no, but just follow me on this, man. It's no different from that where like, you know, the government like created these hoods and like filled it with everything negative to where your only option is to do negative shit. It's a similar sort of thing. I hear what you're saying because yes, at the end of the day there is that free will, but when you're surrounded by everything that will force you into doing something you don't want to do, you end up doing something you don't want to do.
Cool, but at the same time, like the strong will survive. The strong will find a way, sort of thing.
I hear
Like,
you, but
there will be people who, despite all of that, and there's numerous examples in hip hop of that. Numerous examples of people who might have been signed to a label or have always talked about not wanting to because they were going to dilute their music and then just being underground or just kind of carving out their own path, sort of thing.
no, salute to them. I'm just saying there are some that I think get forced by the label for whatever it is. For whatever it's worth.
Yeah.
I just think if you want to live out your dream, we're going to have to give us something commercial. And it is what it is. And I think Leo Cohen is the head honcho that does that stupid shit.
I mean, he's not the only one, but I feel you.
Sorry, man. I just don't like him. His dumb voice.
Damn.
I really don't like him, bro.
I mean, if there's another YouTube brunch in London, you're definitely not getting invited.
Okay.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
But yeah. I suppose, yeah, man, listen, it's a weird one. I feel like we could be here all day talking about why we don't go to as many shows as maybe white people. Maybe we're completely off the mark talking about this. Maybe people have different perspectives of it. But it just seems like you can't escape going to a show and seeing more people that look like not you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like for me, like the more diverse, the better, because it shows that hip hop is transcendent.
You feel like that?
What?
The more diverse show that you go to, the better. Like you prefer a more diverse show.
Not that I prefer it, but it's more so, it's like if it happens, I'm not necessarily mad. It's just something you notice, sort of thing.
Oh,
But like I said, hip hop has become so transcendent. As much as it is ours, it's not ours.
No, I agree. I wouldn't say I'm offended.
Anyone could enjoy it, and then everyone should enjoy it. That's what it's there for,
I agree.
sort of thing.
I wouldn't say I'm offended. I'm just more. I notice it. Put it that way. I wouldn't say I'm offended.
everyone
I
notices
don't
it.
care, but it's more. Just we could do better. Here.
I would say it's still ours. I think it always will be.
At least it's always going to be us. Yeah,
Yeah, it is 100% because we created it. But as far as
That's
it
not to say
being-
that I'm not, you know, happy to welcome
Guests.
other consumers. I didn't say that.
That's what you're trying to say.
That's not what I said.
That's what you
That's not what I said. I said other consumers. Of course I'm happy to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Different perspectives, different viewpoints, different worldviews. It kind of makes hip hop more diverse, I guess.
As long as there's no mistaking that the shit is ours.
So what are they then? If it's ours,
I don't know.
are they not a guest?
What point are you trying to make here, Mo?
Bruv, he just wants to say guest.
I was just thinking about that. I'm just like,
Sure, this guy,
that was
bro.
more than that was nothing but boredom. I apologize.
Yeah, man.
Boredom on our podcast. Feel
Not
you.
boredom, as in that was nothing but banner. That's actually what I was thinking to say.
Feel you. But listen, man. Salute to everybody that consumes hip hop.
Words, man.
You know, whether you can afford $10 or £10 for a show or $100 or pounds for a show. Either way, you know, as long as you're doing something to help the culture grow and all that as well. So, yeah. Say for the topic, Pete.
Yeah, that was
Salute,
great.
salute,
That was a solid
salute.
topic. Solid
Big
topic.
up Fabian.
1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2.